Good afternoon, everybody. This is Jeff J. Brown, China Rising Radio, Sinoland in Chiang Mai, Thailand. Before we get started, above and below on this web page, as well as in the YouTube and SoundCloud descriptions, please make a donation. There's a fundraiser button or website. There is a PayPal. It tells you how to pay by PayPal. This podcast article, to produce it and get it out has taken me about 12 hours at America's pitiful minimum wage. That comes out to about $87 for 12 hours of work. Please, anything, $1, $2, $3, $4, $5, $10, whatever you can afford. Please show your support for all the information and knowledge that you gain from this website. Thank you. This one is called Coronavirus/COVID Started and Propagated in the United States. The US CDC director even says so. Then some serious thoughts about what it all means for your future. Here we go. There's a picture. Some people have first-hand experience surviving the West's psychopathic exploitation of the world's 99%. Former UN General Secretary Boutros Ghali, I'm sorry, sir, was one. Note before starting, everything you wanted to know about COVID-19, chemical and bio warfare, but were afraid to ask. Now is your chance to step outside the Great Western Firewall. It's all here. The China Rising Radio Sinoland COVID-19 chemical and bioweapon file, film, and tape library with a big link you can click on. Here's the article. The fact that coronavirus/COVID-19 originated in the United States and was spread around the world from there makes perfectly good sense, and people are starting to talk about it publicly. Even the director of the U.S. Center for Disease Control, the CDC, Dr. Robert R. Redfield, fessed up. He is an expert virologist, someone who studies viruses, so I think he is qualified to talk about the origins of coronavirus. Being an honest and principled scientist, he may regret telling the whole world the truth because it is so damaging to Urangloland's big lie propaganda machine, the BLPM, global brainwashing. But what the hey? The BLPM will keep saturating the 24/7 MSM with violent/fake false flags, transgenders, guns, God, Muslims, and immigrants. This is to scare the bejesus out of you so that the real truth will be flushed down memory hole just that fast. Unless, of course, you're a friend, fan, or follower of China Rising Radio Sinoland, so stay tuned. Dr. Redfield was not the first world notable to cough up the beans, pardon the pun. China has told the U.S. to come clean. Malaysian leader Matthias Chong said the same thing in January, tying it directly to U.S. biowarfare to attack and kill its enemies. Iran's President Hassan Rouhani has suggested it as well. Aussie MSM even wrote about it without the racist fear porn headlines. If you would like the scientific explanation about the Yankee coronavirus, which traces it back to its origins, here it is. Am I surprised? Of course not. The, quote, Spanish, end of quote, flu was 100% Uncle Sam. H1N1 was all American. It infected 1.6 million people around the world and killed 380,000. Kevin Barrett caught a serious case of Lyme disease. On his show, the bioengineer of this Frankenbug broke down in tears, admitting it was a U.S. laboratory creation. The U.S. government owns the patent on the Ebola virus. All-American Rockefeller Foundation owns the Zika virus. British Purebright Institute owns the patent for coronavirus, which is funded by world-class American eugenicist Bill Gates. A UN expert confided to investigative journalist Wayne Madsen the belief that AIDS/HIV, H1N1, and Ebola are military bioweapons. Madsen said they even dug up an Inuit woman's body who had died from the 1918 flu pandemic to use her DNA to develop H1N1 for maximum lethality. It's life imitating science fiction horror movies. Speaking of military germ warfare, is America's DARPA, the Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, capable of creating coronavirus haplotypes, those are bioengineered varieties of the same microbe, to attack specific ethnicities? Of course it is. Their job is to exterminate global capitalism's enemies by the millions. They are the ones caught creating Frankenstein bat coronaviruses, not China or anybody else. Would DARPA test, in parentheses, coronavirus, but in general bioweapons on its own citizens? What a silly question. Of course they do. They've been doing it nonstop for 70 years. Why would they stop now? DARPA, like the CIA, is a top secret Death Star, totally impervious to any U.S. or global news. Dr. Leonard A. Cole did years of research on America's government using bioweapons and killing its own citizens like laboratory guinea pigs, and filled a whole book with the evidence called Clouds of Secrecy. He has also written several other books about these crimes against humanity, in case you're still not convinced. Back to today's headlines. We have never seen a global flu epidemic map like the current one, only seriously affecting China, Iran, and Italy, and everybody else around them relatively unscathed, although cases are starting to increase in Spain and France, which seems to fit a geopolitical pattern with the others. Why is that? Iran is a mortal socialist, Muslim, anti-imperial enemy, and the U.S. bullied socialist rebel Italy for months and months to keep it from joining China's visionary Belt and Road Initiative, the BRI. Italy was the first G7 member to officially sign a BRI MOU. The psychopath neocons back on the Potomac were livid. When their imperial superiority is challenged, they always get revenge. If you think the above is just conspiratorial coincidences, be my guest. Do any of you honestly accept the statistical improbability, I'd say impossibility, of 3 Malaysian airlines mysteriously going down in 9 months? Does the fact that Malaysia is the only country that had the moral courage and civilizational integrity to convict Western leaders in imperial countries, including George W. Bush, Dick Cheney, Tony Blair, Israel et al., of war crimes, and its Kuala Lumpur War Crimes Commission have something to do with it? Again, if you think the above is just conspiratorial coincidences, be my guest. I got smart starting in 2010 when I saw video footage of the World Trade Center number 7 skyscraper coming crashing down in free fall on 9/11. Franklin Delano Roosevelt was a lot smarter than me and figured it out much sooner in life than I did, saying, "In politics, nothing happens by accident. If it happens, you can bet it was planned that way." End of quote. Given all that FDR dealt with globally, it's safe to assume he meant geopolitics too. As my good friend Dr. Modi Nisani, whom I've had on CRRS several times, he says, our global gangster banksters unblinkingly kill anyone who stands in their way, and if someone manages to harm or insult them, even if it is only done between them and not widely known, they get revenge, usually very publicly. Think John F. Kennedy, Robert F. Kennedy, Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, and on, as a warning to everybody else. This is the ugly truth that everybody avoids confronting. Uranglo-land is a criminal gangland civilization and treats its citizens and the rest of the world like loan shark slaves. As Godfrey Roberts, whom I've had on CRRS many times, likes to remind everyone, this culture has been developing since the Roman Empire. If you read books like Savage Anxieties, The Invention of Western Civilization by Native American Robert A. Williams, Jr., you learn that the Romans simply, quote, improved, end of quote, on the criminal oligarchic gangster Greek model. I've written much about all this historical perspective up to today's headlines in the China trilogy. See below. Gangster governance. It's who Westerners are. It's what they do. It's how they treat their own and the rest of the world. Eurangloland being humane and empathetic is a macabre oxymoron. Like Fannie Lou Hamer, who died too young on this day in 1977, may she rest in peace, I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired of all the endless moral equivocations, rationalizations, and denials of this etched-in Nice, G-N-E-I-S-S, rock reality. Sorry, China is Confucianist, Taoist, Buddhist, Communist, Socialist. The Chinese are diametrically different than Westerners. Always have been. Period. End of subject. What's truly sad is the BLPM is such a miracle of brainwashing that many global anti-imperialists and 99% of Western, quote, liberals and progressives, end of quote, never cease trying to make an idealized, sanitized silk purse out of this bloody genocidal pig's ear. They probably never heard of Wall Street lawyer Frank Wisner. He was the CIA's, the Central Intelligence Agency, first chief of political warfare. Yes, that is the job title. He loved to brag that being able to brainwash the whole world was like playing the agency's mighty Wurlitzer, which, if you don't know, is a famously huge electric organ found in churches, music halls, and public venues the world over. And then there is a picture of a mighty Wurlitzer. The mighty Wurlitzer organ is a great metaphor for how the BLPM enables Western oligarchs' exploitation of their own 99%, the rest of humanity, and all of their natural resources. Above, the organ is planet Earth. You are one of those keys. Your country is a foot pedal. In spite of Wisner and company, the true hands-on leaders and rulers of Eurangloland, some people have been able to step outside the Great Western Firewall. Unlike his socialist predecessor, Dag Hammarskjöld, former UN General Secretary Boutros Ghali managed to not get assassinated by the West's deep state. He said, "Coming from a developing country, I was trained extensively in international law and diplomacy and mistakenly assumed that the great powers, especially the United States, also trained their representatives in diplomacy and accepted the value of it. But the Roman Empire had no need for diplomacy, neither does the United States." End of quote. Well said, Dr. Boutros Ghali. Very well said indeed. This is Jeff J. Brown, China